It's time for Operation Freedom with your host, Dr. Dave Janda, on Southeast Michigan's conservative powerhouse, WAAM Talk 1600.
Welcome back to Operation Freedom, folks. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our Freedom Bunker here at WAAM Talk 1600. Again, this show will be up at podcast form for you at davejanda.com by tonight, Sunday night. Download it, network this information to anyone and everyone you know. The more educated folks are, the more empowered they become. You know, folks, every time this next guest comes on, I get tremendous positive feedback afterwards. For a number of years, actually, I had been researching predictive modeling organizations, how effective they were at predictive modeling, and if they did get something wrong, if they would actually fess up. And it's interesting, actually all other predictive models that I came up with were wrong a fair amount of the time, but they'd never quite fess up. And then I came across Evolution 4.0 and a gentleman by the name of Nick Ruiz. And I started monitoring what he was saying and following what he was saying and keeping a record of what he was saying and what his modeling was showing. And let me tell you, the guy is uncanny how correct he is and his model is. In fact, the last time he was on, it was right before the election, when many people, I believe the New York Times actually had it as a 98% certitude that Hillary Clinton was going to win. And Nick came on this show and he goes, no, it's Trump's going to win. And it's going to be big in the Electoral College. Well, look what we got. Let me give you a little background. As the lead system architect of the Evolution 4.0 system and founder of Evolution Consulting, Nick Anthony Ruiz, along with a team of developers, set out several years ago to do the impossible, design a large-scale data mining system that could forecast future geopolitical and global financial events based upon linguistic analysis, in addition to other proprietary methods. In other words, a collective sentiment and intention analysis engine. While many said this would not be possible, the combination of determination, creativity, and true talent, folks, and a talented development team has proven that is in fact possible. For the past 3.5 years, Nick, along with other members of the Evolution development team, have been sharing publicly information discovered by the Evolution 4.0 system, in addition to providing a valuable level of insight to traders and investors. He has also established an indisputable track record of accuracy for the Evolution 4.0 system and components. In terms of finance and economics, the Evolution 4.0 system has proven over 96% accuracy in forecasting equity and capital market trends, forex trends, as well as movements in precious metals markets. Nick, welcome back to Operation Freedom.
Dave, thanks for having me on again.
Well, it's a pleasure, Nick, and an honor. And Nick, so we have tens of thousands of new listeners over the internet around the world every week. So by way of foundation, educate all of our listeners again on what Evolution 4.0 is and how it can help each and every one of them.
Sure, will do. And I'd like to preface this piece by saying I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the entirety of the greater Pittsburgh area working today because of the football game.
Yeah, congratulations. You guys are thumping them.
Go Steelers. As far as the Evolution 4.0 system, and I'm going to just keep it brief, a lot of people talk about data mining. Okay, data mining to a specific location, specific topic, specific string, which is a string is effectively just a series of characters or letters. I mean, a Google search would be considered a string. Okay, What we built is a collective sentiment engine, which really makes use of a more open-end search, which means scan your internet, available content, no dark net, no deep net, no voodoo or hackery or anything like that, and just scan the superficial level to get an idea of what global sentiment is like. And that's how we've been able to be so accurate. We don't use technicals. We don't use, as far as our economic stuff, we don't use Japanese candlesticking or anything like that for purposes of economics. We scan collective sentiment. And the analogy that I now use to describe what we built is if you walk into a room, if you walk into a meeting and you're not quite sure what it's about, you use your five senses. You open your ears. first, and you listen to see what you might be able to infer just from listening. To the other people in the room. You might use your eyes. You might look for body language. You try to make as many inferences as you possibly can without being specifically told this is what's going on. And that's what the Evolution 4.0 system, and more recently the Evolution Ultra system, which is another, I don't know what we built there, but it makes 4.0 look like a toy. I can tell you that much. We've done some recent scan work with that. And that's how we've been able to be so accurate, is by just taking that surface-level data and just getting an idea. It's like the equivalent of using the entire world, walking onto the planet and opening your ears as if you walked into a business meeting that you weren't quite sure what it was about. So you were able to make those inferences. And that's how, if I may make the smug face for a second, that's how we were able to call that election so far in advance, months in advance, and not just the election, but a lot of the sub-narratives that led up to the election. We were able to call those so far in advance, and it was kind of ironic because the last state to come in that put Trump over the top was Pennsylvania, so I was kind of smirking ear to ear, and it was kind of surreal to watch it all play out, especially the fact that a lot of our forecast information played out pretty much in fast forward as far as the economics went.
So now folks can sign up for your service. How do they get in touch with you?
evolutionconsulting.world. Yes, it's .world, so I can sound like Jeremy Clarkson from the Grand Tour every time I say our URL. It's evolutionconsulting.world. You can go there and you can take a look. We have Switch and Signal, which is our active trading journal, which has just been terrifyingly accurate. We're doing Wirehouse for another year, which is our deep-level editorial style research monthly that we produce. And, of course, we have the Grand Street Notes. I'm getting ready to put one of those up this evening, the petroleum guide on the oil industry, but we have our metals investing guide up already. We have our 2017 macro overview guide up. Those are non-subscription. Those are $100 a pop. You sign up, and that's all from Evolution, and there is some Evolution 4.0, and there's also some Evolution Ultra research included in those. So do tra-la-la over at evolutionconsulting.world. We have a whole new e-commerce store that we opened up, so things have gone very well here.
And, folks, I encourage you to utilize Nick's services through Evolution Consulting. I'm telling you, there's no finer, no more accurate system that I've come across. Nick, so let's get into a little bit of what some of your predictive analysis has shown. Let's tackle financial markets. We have a Dow Industrial Average that keeps trying to bump up against 20,000. The little jokesters on CNBC say, 20,000, 22,000, 25,000. It's all in the cards, not to worry. Just go for it, folks. Where are you, Nick? What are you seeing?
In terms of U.S. capital market indexes, as it pains me to admit this, I agree with them. Go for it. Really. I mean, years ago, when I first started sharing information publicly, I want to say late 2013, early 2014, we made a forecast that is now infamous, and that's Dow 28,000. Okay? And a lot of people looked at us at the time, they went, Dow what? Are you serious? And of course, with the Trump election, they said he was going to be the worst thing for capital markets ever in the history of the world ever, period. And we said, oh, no, he isn't. He's what every Wall Streeter, he's what the investment class has been waiting for. Okay, and sure enough, here we are, Dow 19.9 and some high change, probably going to push through 20,000 on Monday. This is the beginning. What the Dow run from 18,000 to 19 and high change, where we've been recently. That's the real vote. I mean, you can talk about the popular vote, you can talk about the electoral college vote, but when you see a market rally 1,800, 1,900 points like that, that's the investor class in this country giving Trump the benefit of the doubt. That's them giving him the thumbs up, is what that is. Okay, and really what it is, it's not so much a technical thing. I mean, 20,000 is a round number, and that's all fantastic. It's a perception trading component or an irrational human trading component. That's all well and good. That's fine. And, yeah, it is a major milestone, and it's a major bit of history. It's the highest, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, however good a bellwether of U.S. economic health that may be. It's the first time it's ever hit 20,000, but what's happening now is really not a technical thing. It's more of a sentiment thing, okay? And that's what the evolution system specializes in, is being able to analyze and forecast based upon that. And what we've said, I mean, we have a market update video from April of 2016, early April 2016 is one of the first ones we did. We said Trump is going to win, and it's going to usher in some permutation of the 1980s version 2.0, bonfire the vanity style. And, it's going to be okay to be wealthy again. It's going to be okay to be rich again. It's going to be okay to be successful again. And that's what's going to drive the capital markets higher. It's got the square root of Jack Poo to do with, any real technical metrics. I mean, unemployment, on-farms, ADP. There's a guy walking down the hallway that makes those numbers up as they go along. I'm convinced of that. But the reality of the situation is the sentiment shifted. It's okay to be wealthy again. And what we're entering now for the next foreseeable future, for the next 4 years, is rip your head off, bloodthirsty, meat-eating capitalism. And after 8 years of Obama, let's talk about some political physics here, it's going to swing back the other way. And that's all Dow 20,000 is. That's the investment wealthy class of this country going, all right, that's the guy we've been waiting for.
So since the election, the stock market's been going up. Gold and silver got hammered. Initially, they were up big when it looked like he was winning that night of the election, and then they got hammered, and they've continued to get hammered. So are you saying that as the stock market's making new highs, gold and silver going to continue to get hammered?
Incorrect. Incorrect. Good. And it was actually really kind of interesting because the real story, more interesting than watching the map turn red and blue, is if you were watching a 1 minute increment or a 30-second increment metals chart. Mm-hmm. We watched at Evolution Consulting. Like I said, I didn't even have a bottle of gin handy as a precaution. Okay. We sat back and we watched our forecast. Markets tank. The market's tanked. I mean, it was down 1,000 points at one point. I got a friend of mine on the phone, and I went, are those NASDAQ futures really halted? Are you serious? And he's like, you got it, Nick. Have a nice night, dude. Goodbye. Yeah. I was like, okay. So you saw, just capital markets get clobbered when it became obvious that he was going to win. It started when he scored the state of Florida, and then it was just all downhill from there.
Right.
You saw metals up 80, 90, 100. It was almost $100 at one point. You had gold up, and we're sitting there going, "Oh, please God, let it hold until the market opens," because we were thinking of the ETFs, and it reversed in less than 12 hours. So that confirms something else. It's not that we were wrong; we were right. It's just it played out in fast forward, and so that confirms something else that we've researched, which is the speed of information. Dave, was the story of this election. The speed to which markets can react and then forget. And we coined a phrase called the Super Bowl effect, speaking of football, which was like, markets reacted to the Trump win on Election Day as if it was just a one-day thing. It's like, okay, the Cubs won the World Series, have a nice day, everybody go, there's a parade, and everybody go back to work, and, that's the end of that.
Right.
I hate to break it to you guys, you elected a guy whose Twitter account has more bearing on capital markets and precious metals than the friggin' Federal Reserve.
That's true.
I don't know how to put that any other way.
No,
that's my over the top of the head with the sledgehammer style, but, there it is. It's like they forgot, and now it's, oh, yeah, by the way, Trump's your president for the next 4 years, so there's that. In terms of metals tanking, I think not. I think not. We've elected a president. This is going to sound like probably one of the most dramatic things I will ever say because it probably is, but it's also very true. We've elected a president that can move gold $500-600 in a day. It takes one tweet of we need to go back to the gold standard, and all hell is going to break loose. That's a fact.
Do you believe he's going to do that?
Look who's in his he's already pulled into his administration. I have it on good information. I think it was made public. You got Larry Kudlow, who's one phone call away from him. Gold bug. Okay, and I happen to know somebody that knows Kudlow personally. He's a very nice guy. I'm not going to mention his name. You got Carl Icahn, who's floating around there, who's been a proponent before. You have there's a woman whose name escapes me at the moment.
Judy Sheldon.
Thank you. All of them, at one point in time or another, have made reference to the idea of a gold standard. So basically a bet against gold at this point is a bet that Trump isn't going to pander to his audience for the next 4 years and say we need to go back to a gold standard. So I wouldn't take that.
So your model says to all those folks that are saying, well, the market's going to it's just going to keep playing out this way. The market's going to keep going up, and gold and silver and precious metals are going to get hammered for the next God knows how long. They're about to have a religious experience on the short side.
Oh, it's going to be way beyond the religious experience. They are going to come face to face with something even more terrifying. It's called the truth and the reality of economic physics. And as you know, our business slogan is everything is a transaction. And that's about to be a proven fact. We predicted in 2013, 2014, we said that the first sign that it's Operation, never mind Operation Freedom, it's Operation Get What You Can Get While You Can Get. And this is the beginning of that. We said capital markets are going to go higher and metal markets are going to trend higher simultaneously. And that's kind of the warning flag, because anybody that knows anything fundamental about economics is going to scratch their head and go, huh? What? You got you got the Chinese that are just absolutely tanking the yuan on purpose. And if you don't think there's an ulterior motive there, that's going to be a rude awakening, man. When they have, quote unquote, ready for this headline, no choice but to guarantee the yuan, or in some permutation, with metals to prevent further devaluation. It's not a coincidence that their currency and a lot of the other AIIB nations' currencies are just mysteriously trending closer towards par value. It'd be a lot easier to consolidate that way. Wink, wink, nudge. Okay. You have the Japanese, they've taken a pivot towards the Far East. Okay. You got the Philippines, they've pretty much taken a full-scale pivot towards the Far East. You got Marine Le Pen in France, who, if and when she wins, you're going to see a Marine Le Pen win in France is the end of the EU. Okay, we've been very public about that. So there's all these catalysts to drive metals higher. Okay, imploding currencies, failing economic alliances and so forth. There's so many trends there. There's so many catalyst events there that can drive metals higher. That at this point in time, I mean, any physical supply that you can get your hands on, and I have no vested interest in it. I'm not one of these gold guys that goes, buy it from ABC or XYZ, whatever. Right. Our information is our product. That's all we do. We do not have any affiliation with metals retailers or any banking entities for explicitly that reason. But as far as what the new system is going to be based upon, you don't need to be an economist or rocket scientist, and I do love to use this on your show, a brain surgeon. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out that you look at the Chinese gold buys, you look at the Russian gold buys, you look at all these nations that are scoffing up whatever physical supply there's going to be. What do you think the new system is going to be based on? You think it's going to be based on Bitcoin? You think it's going to be based on unicorn farts and pixie dust?
No.
Gold and silver, my friend.
So when you say significantly higher, so Nick, when you're talking, can you give any kind of range where you think gold and silver are going to go, and time frame when you're looking at that?
The thing is, we try not to focus primarily on spot price because it encourages people to ask the wrong question.
Right.
And that is, how much is gold worth compared to the dollar? If anything, flip that around.
Yeah.
It's how much the dollar, the yen, the yuan, the South African rand, the Brazilian real, how much is all that worth compared to gold? So to speak in terms of spot prices, we try not to. We try to focus on something called purchasing power, and that is take the fiat out of the equation, because that is a massive component of something much grander that's going on the planet. Okay? And I call it the global restructuring and the global reordering. All right? You take all those fiats completely out of the equation. All right? And then you have the original very macro nexus basis of economics, which is how much stuff, goods and services, all right, be that a want or a need, can you purchase with your gold and silver? And the two numbers we've come up with, and I know we're not the first folks to come up with these numbers, but just keep in mind the system that's verified these numbers, okay, is around, on gold, $10,000 per ounce in terms of purchasing power, okay, in terms of today's money, all right, approximately.
Okay.
Silver, $1,500 an ounce, approximately purchasing power. Not that you would want to go and take your silver or your gold and then go, hi, can I have some U.S. dollars for them? Because that would be stupid.
Sure. So you would take your gold or your silver and you'd purchase real estate, and you would be getting roughly, in today's equivalent, $1,500 an ounce for the silver for buying some real estate.
Correct. Or any other industrial. See, the secret is, and you listen to CNBC and you listen to all these mainstream business networks, and I dare them, and I'm going to put this on, but I dare them to have me on. I know they won't, but that's okay.
It's all right. Nobody watches CNBC anyway.
Oh, that's true, but I dare them to have me on. Okay. The fact of the matter is, I mean, you look in terms of the approach to investing, and you can focus on Japanese our chief technical analyst, he likes that stuff, the Japanese candlesticking and Bollinger Bands and this, that, and the other thing. And here's a reality check. Okay? You think Carl Icahn, Warren Buffett, those kind of guys, that level of investment, do you think they give anything that on a good day with the light hitting it just right might be mistaken for a rat's posterior about Bollingers or, 52-week moving it? They don't. They're cause-effect, catalyst-based investors, and it's been the same technique that's been used for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So yours truly, and you bring up real estate often, okay? If if I was of above average intelligence, okay, what I would do is I would do the same thing the wealthiest families on this planet have done for the last several hundred years. Wait for all hell to break loose. Wait for fire sale pricing. Wait for a major, major economic paradigm shift. Okay, and then leverage that. As you said, $10,000 an ounce. Can you go out and can you buy real estate at $200,000-$300,000? That might have been $1 million house once upon a time, maybe. Would I go out and would I purchase, basically the secret is you purchase cash flow positive assets, preferably those of inelastic demand, real estate, multifamily houses, buildings, things along those lines, stuff that when the inevitable recovery happens, you own for fire sale prices, okay, generates wealth, because that's the difference between rich and wealthy. Rich is, you make a great trade and you got $1 million. You're rich.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wealthy. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, if you go out and you purchase a multifamily home, that's going to generate rent income indefinitely. Now you're wealthy. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's something that you'll notice that's not spoken of very often on mainstream business networks, the difference between the two.
Right.
But in terms of leveraging the purchasing power, that's the object of the game, is to be so far ahead of the curve where you now have lots of what's going to be valuable, not what is, but what's going to be. Okay, and that's kind of what we're seeing. That's why I have to laugh, about the whole Bitcoin rally. Speaking of things that we called, if I may bring that up for a moment, we have since October. For those that read Switch and Signal, our active trading journal, I have customers that'll verify this because they scored hugely. If I may use a Trumpism, they scored bigly. On the Bitcoin, because we've been saying $500-$600 after the halving. We said, go for it. Watch what the currency devaluation does. And what we've seen is that Bitcoin markets have reacted the way precious metals markets used to before the real manipulation started.
Right.
And we saw, the very beginnings of a little bit of a tulip bulbs in Amsterdam. And I said, I caution people. I said, we don't pretend Bitcoin is money, but it is sort of an alternative precious metals market, okay, temporarily. Tulip bulbs in Amsterdam style, whereupon you can make effectively a forex trade. We've seen that. The new system is not going to be Bitcoin based. It's going to be gold and silver based. And what we're seeing is a consolidation into a one world system. And I know that, sends chills up and down the spine of the more devout, but it's a product of a lot of social variables. And that's how we've been able to be so accurate, is we've got a really good handle on that consolidation of global economics, consolidation of global society into, I dare say it, and I know it's almost profanity to say this on some radio programs, but it is a newer world order. It is the byproduct of technology, speed, and, the planet becoming a smaller place, not physically, obviously, but metaphorically.
And the timing on this, Nick, where does your modeling say about this this reset, if you will, that you've described? What are we looking at?
Anywhere past the third and fourth quarter of this year is what we call the red zone. Okay? And where that, do we really, Q3, Q4, 2017, do we forecast it happening? We've seen some information suggesting it could happen that quickly, but let's stop and think. Okay? The investor class needs their chance to get what they can get while they can get it. And that's what this Trump presidency is all about. Ideology aside. All right, let's be real here for a second. It's basically the green flag on the Gordon Gekko 500 is really what it is. It's get what you can get while you can get it. He is a very business, very corporate, very wealthy, friendly president. Okay, so he's the guy you need there. Okay, to get what you can get while you can get it. So realistically speaking, our time frame, we're going to say anywhere mid-2018 and forward is borrowed time.
And the single most effective way for folks to protect themselves?
Guys, gold and silver, physical supply, leverage the volatility that's there. Okay, convert your paper into metal. Keep calm, keep emotionless, and just, and function. And that's how you're going to get through this.
Nick, I'd like to thank you for everything you do. Folks, evolutionconsulting.world, evolutionconsulting.world. You're listening to Operation Freedom, folks. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our Freedom Bunker here at WAAM Talk 1600.